a friend of mine and I, we started a little club, and we encouraged other, at the time it was mums and dads, because our kids were all in the same school, to get together, and it was like a parent coffee morning, but with art thrown in. Then we found that actually we had a fair amount of interest amongst friends of friends who didn't actually know us personally, and they felt, we were told that they felt a bit uncomfortable about visiting us in our homes because they didn't actually know us, until they got to know us. So, and the group was getting a bit big, like we were getting to like 10, 12, that kind of thing, so it was getting a bit crowded. So we looked at renting a space. So I found this space, and then my dear friend migrated to the US, so I was left with this space. So I ended up renting it for myself, but then keeping the concept of keeping the art club going, I then opened up the space for art club members, and then it became an open studio, and then a few friends talked to me about holding workshops, and like, yeah, why not? The space is available. I can't work here 24 hours a day, so use the space. So that's how the Arty Space came about. And the name actually is because it's an art space, and another close friend of mine who is French says, well, espace is space in French, so why don't you put that in? And the E can be part of espace, or it can be E for Esther. And the Arty Space works as well because amongst my friends' kids, I was known as the arty, farty, auntie who would take them and do creative stuff, If they wanted to paint, they were like, here, Esther, take them, So, and we used to do quite fun things. So I take them, a group of them up to the Spice Gardens, and we go and draw from them live and all that kind of stuff, So it all meshes into one. So we have the art club that meets twice a week, and the two ladies there are members. So that works. That's a really enjoyable time for me, because it's social. We're all actually doing work of our own, but it's also quite social. We catch up and chat, nag, whine, whatever it is, and it's a really nice sharing time as well, because we're all doing different media, different styles, and it's quite interesting to see each other's work grow as well. So I really enjoyed having that art club the art club meetings. Shared spaces are harder because a lot of artists either work very large and they don't want to put away their work, which they have to do if we have workshops and classes for kids and all that sort of thing, just for safety. So it's been trying to find a balance, So we've had a few artists come in and use the space for, let's say, a year, 6 months, whatever it is, and it's been fun to have that, just have one other person, because otherwise when I'm working, I'm here on my own, which is okay, but it's nice to have like another body there. We don't necessarily talk all the time, but it's just nice having that camaraderie in a sense. Yeah. I guess I've always enjoyed drawing and painting as a child, but my generation, art was never a viable career, you know what I mean? So it was always the big ones, medicine, accountancy, engineering, law, right? And maybe I have the blessing of being double-brained, so I took to science very quickly, science and maths very, very, very easily as well. I was very fortunate. My year in medical school, we had a lot of very creative people who were interested in not just painting, drawing, music as well, drama. So there were a lot of people who were very like-minded. We were studying medicine as a career, but we had a lot of very artistic, creative outlets. So I think that encouraged me to pick it up again. But it wasn't until my eldest two girls were in school and I stopped working full-time and met a couple of other mums who are also very interested in art, and we set up a little art club, which was really in those days just meeting in each other's kitchens or living rooms and talking, doing a little bit of art and all that. But it grew from there, and I had more time as well because I had stopped working full time. So I think the whole idea of doing art more often, drawing more often, painting more often grew from there, and becoming or focusing on botanical art, I think, has something that has grown as well. It wasn't an intention right at the beginning that this is what I wanted to do, and there was no perception that this is what I want to do. But I was just really experimenting and with different media, different styles, different forms, and I quickly realized that I think with my science brain also, I couldn't do very loose art. I couldn't paint loosely, I couldn't think loosely, I couldn't, that sort of very interpretive styles was lost. I just had no ability to do that. So I then focused more on painting from life, drawing from life, painting from life, and plants were something that was easy for me to start doing. So that's where I am at now. I think a lot of us don't have the courage and don't have the confidence in ourselves to feel that we can label ourselves as a professional artist. I guess when you break it down to what it means, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting commissions. I'm doing things as maybe not solo shows, but being invited to be part of this event, that art event, this show and that show. So this is basically what I'm doing, So yes, in that respect, I am a professional artist. Do I market myself? Am I very active on social media? Do I put myself out there and no. So from that point of view, maybe some people may not consider me a professional because I don't do all that kind of thing, There's so many young artists out there, and they're very, very good. And I think for me, it's not necessarily just the age. I feel that coming into art at this stage in my life, I don't feel the need to go and attend all the parties, the opening parties, the this and the that. I don't have the time. I still have a youngish son at home, and I don't have the energy to go and do it. But I don't feel that I'm pressured to do so. And the group of artists that I've gotten to know over the years, it suits me, and it's nice to meet the young crowd at different events. But it's not something that I need to do all the time. So I know my limits. I know where I'm at, and I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. I enjoy the detail. I enjoy studying the way they grow and the form. I have zero green thumbs. Anything I try growing just dies. So I think for me that's so I paint them, right? I can't grow them, so I paint them. So that works for me, And also I think it's an easy subject to find and to get inspiration from. But I tend also to, unless it's a specific commission, I tend not to choose particularly pretty, traditionally pretty subjects. I tend to go for things that are a little bit odd, or not necessarily what is perceived as necessarily a beautiful subject. I think there is a lot more that they will have to do on their own in terms of social media, getting themselves, their work known, but I think they still have to be selective. They should not feel like they have to show everywhere and commit to everything. You know, I think taking their time and also figuring out where they are and who they want to be as an artist. I think sometimes also you feel that when you're at a certain stage in life and you're coming to this a little bit later on, you feel like there's no time left, you know, and you need to do everything and commit to doing so many different things, right? And I think that may not be the easiest or the best way to approach it, and it's very important to figure out who you are, what your style is. Don't get pressured into doing things a certain way, which you may not be happy with, you know, and finding other people, you know, who not necessarily the same age or whatever, you know. I think our group, we have different ages, but we connect, you know, as friends and fellow artists, and I think that's important. Not trying to do it on your own. I think definitely having more general art events like this, for example, right? For example, I wouldn't necessarily think about going to visit, let's say, Studio Howard, for example, you know, without having an event like this. And some of the larger events that have occurred are great meeting places and getting together places and events for artists, like the Open Studios Penang. We had no idea there were so many artists in Penang, and it was great to meet so many people, and also and for a lot of them also to put faces to names, because you hear of someone but you don't know who they are, and I think events like that, you know, that encourage artists to get together and do something together, I think is a great way to bring the community closer. And I think having like open studio events, encouraging artists to open their studios to other people as well, other artists, as well as, you know, anyone to come in and actually see artists at work, what it actually looks like, what a studio actually looks like. I think that's very interesting, and everyone works differently, and going to see other artist studios is actually very eye-opening. Yeah. And if we're not stealing skills, you know, because I think you cannot steal someone else's skills. You can learn skills and techniques from each other, but whatever you do with it is still your own. You know, you will always inject your own style, your flair, whatever it is, into your own work. You know, and copying is the hardest thing to do. You know, so I feel that the concept of sharing among artists is very, very important.